Good Saturday morning, September 13th. It's amazing how green the corn still is, but that was the corn that I put the double anhydrous on, so kind of makes sense. So I'm going to sit here in the back of the gator. So today's video, that was it for anything that had to do with farming. So obviously, like I said, it's September 13th, so everybody knows what's happened in the last, 3 days or so. Obviously, we remembered September 11th, I live here in New York State, so that's, I'm not going to say it's different than for everybody else, but it is a little different. So, but anyways, we also all saw what happened on September 10th, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I never got on social media until I made this YouTube channel, 2020, whatever it was. And yes, my cricket is still here, and no, I'm not going to kill him. So he seems to keep coming back in. I tried shooing him out the other day because he was right up here on the floor, but he comes back. So Jiminy Cricket wants to live in the shop. He can live in the shop. But anyways, I digress. The assassination of Charlie Kirk. Where are we? We are lost as a society. Absolutely lost. And the media and the politicians don't help things. First, let's go to that 23-year-old woman who got murdered on the train there by the black guy who stabbed her in the neck, the Ukrainian girl. That video, when you see the whole video, is disturbing as all hell. Her looking up at him after he did it, the fear in her eyes, and then just watching her head slump as she's grabbing her neck, and then she just rolls off the seat onto the floor. It's like she didn't even know she was dying, and just she was in such fear in her eyes in that picture. Oof. And of course the media, going nuts that the right is trying, this whole right-left bullshit, the right is trying to make this into a racist thing. Of course, they don't show the rest of the video as he's walking up through the train, and you literally see all of the blood dripping off of from his hand that's holding the knife. And he's saying, I got that white girl. I got that white girl. Yeah, so is that a hate crime, folks? Will that person get, charged with a hate crime? I'll bet you this farm reverse the roles in that. Well, not necessarily the roles in that, but make that a white dude stabbing an innocent, young, beautiful 23-year-old black girl. Yeah, and then let's see where we are in this country. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then the Charlie Kirk thing. A 22-year-old, let's be honest, indoctrinated kid. I made an Instagram post the other day, and when they came out yesterday, Friday, saying that, he was apprehended late Thursday night, the people that are like, oh yeah, it was one of your own, maggot, you MAGA maggots, and all this, just because what does the media do? The media focused on the fact that his father was a 27-year veteran of the next county over, or a couple counties over, of their sheriff's department. I don't know if he was the actual sheriff or just worked in the sheriff's department, and he was a registered Republican, the father. So that's what they jumped to. Yeah, they didn't jump to the fact that the kid had written literally on the bullet casings, What was the one? Hey, fascist, catch this. Can you imagine that? Writing that on a bullet that you intend to shoot into another human being's neck. Hey, fascist, catch this. Oh yeah, that's a MAGA maggot right there. Because who is it that calls any of us that are conservative, including Charlie Kirk, President Trump, everybody, fascist and dictator? And how many times have we seen Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Maxine Waters, all of these Democratic politicians, punch them in the face, take them out back. Our wonderful asswipe here, Chucky Schumer, pounding on the podium that, Kavanaugh, you will feel the whirlwind of our, And isn't there somebody in custody right now on trial for shortly after Schumer made those statements for the attempted murder of Judge Kavanaugh, Supreme Court Judge Kavanaugh, Justice Kavanaugh? Yeah. Luckily, they caught that guy outside of his home where his young children were with a gun because, he just happened to be there with a gun, right? The rhetoric is insane. I mean, I couldn't stand Obama. I couldn't stand Biden. About the worst I ever said about Biden is they should take Mr. Shits-His-Pants and put him in a home where he belonged, because the man was physically and mentally not there. Didn't Kamala just come out with some memoir or book or some bullshit where she even said he was delusional to try and run again? Oh. But did you say that when he decided to run again there, Kamala? No, you didn't. You just went along with it because, well, we know why. Because when they finally got rid of him, you got to be the nominee. Or if he did get to be reelected, he probably never was going to make it through 4 years, so then you would get to be president. But, yeah, it's great to say it after the fact, isn't it? Where are we as a society? Charlie Kirk, 31 years old, a beautiful wife that no longer has a husband, 2 beautiful young children, a daughter that's 3 and their son was like 1.5, who, unfortunately, in my opinion, will probably forget who their father is unless their mother, who I think will do this, and others keep his memory alive for them to remember their father. But they're going to grow up without their father. She will eventually someday get married, the daughter, and not have her father to walk her down the aisle. The son will never have his father to play catch with. It's how does it go to that because you don't agree with somebody else's opinion? You want to put up a flag like that to tell people, to tell Biden or whoever what you think of him, and the people who voted for him what you think of them? Go for it. I'm not telling anyone to go out there and unalive someone. That is just absolutely insane. I mean, and you got to be insane to commit a crime like this. But so, because a lot of people don't, want to actually look at what really happens before they start spewing their bullshit about, oh, he was one of you maggots and whatnot, I just took a screenshot of a couple of paragraphs in a few of the articles. It says Tyler Robinson was the kid's name. I think it was Tyler. Relatives painted a picture of a young man who had become more political in recent years and expressed disparaging views of Kirk at a mealtime conversation ahead of his campus visit to Utah. But you let him go? I mean, I don't know. Investigators said Robinson's roommate I mean, the kid was 22, so obviously college, showed them messages between them in which Robinson allegedly referenced retrieving a rifle from a drop point and wrapping a rifle in a towel, as well as changing outfits. Wow. I mean, and basically it was the father and a minister, I guess, that, it says here the minister recognized the suspect, who he did not name, from the photos released to the public, and went to his father. The father convinced the son and took him to a friend who happened to be a U.S. Marshal to turn him in. It's what are those parents going to go through now? So I tried looking up the parents and whatnot, and I did see where they said his father was a registered Republican. His mother, they didn't say was, but they didn't say what she was. The kid supposedly didn't have any party affiliation from what they said, and some news organization, I guess, dug into his voting past, and he hasn't voted in the past 2 elections that he would have qualified to vote for, because obviously he's only 22, so, from 18. But how, because you don't agree with somebody's opinion. See, that was the beauty of Charlie Kirk, is he was going to these campuses and literally, in my opinion, changing the mind and heart of some of these young people by having a debate about things. And it just, I don't know. I don't see what is wrong with that. I mean, we all have friends and relatives that we don't agree with on many things, including politics. But for either side to try and use the rhetoric to convince these young people. I mean, look at the amount of people that are losing their jobs right now that have been out on social media celebrating this assassination. I've seen where teachers, both like K through 12 schools and colleges, that have been either fired or put on administrative leave. Yeah, that means take a month off, and when this cools down, we'll let you back. I hope people keep these university and colleges feet to the fire on that bullshit to make sure these people don't get their jobs back. But I've seen, young conservative activists going out onto the colleges, interviewing college kids the past day or 2, what they thought of the Charlie Kirk assassination. Holy shit. It's sickening to listen to some of these college kids talk about how great it was. It's sickening to see it on Instagram, because that's the only one I'm on besides YouTube. But people have shown me TikToks and Facebook posts and stuff. I mean, how do you celebrate something like that? It just... All right, so I'm going to turn this off for a minute, and then I'll turn it back on. Now I'm going to tell you how I kind of, for you newbies, because, those of you who've been here know my backstory, because I was in politics, obviously at a, smaller level, but I'm going to explain to you how I understand a lot of this. So hang on. Okay, I needed to look something up. So 2 years ago, folks, this video right here, they said I'm a racist. All right. So that video is from 2 years ago. Go watch that video. I know it's a little long. It's 32 minutes, but so this is how I kind of understand all this political bullshit. So I spent 8 years, for you newbies, on my county legislature here in Cayuga County. in upstate New York. We're not a big county, 75,000 people roughly. And I got off in December 31st, 2023 was my last, because I did not run for my third and final 4-year term because I just had enough. But back in 2020, we all know what happened with the burning down of our country. The 25 people that were killed during the burning down of our country, murdered, let's be honest. The whole BLM thing. And I'm not saying that that officer was right with what he did, but to destroy our country the way they did that summer, and this was right in the height of, the old COVID. June of 2020 is when this happened to me. I wrote a letter to the editor of our local rag, the Citizen, the Shitticen as I call it, and holy cow, did the left in this county politically assassinate my character, in plain English. Thank God that's all it was. They weren't that crazy. The local NAACP president, Eli Hernandez, and others, it was just because I put in there facts and said things that many, probably the majority of, absolutely the majority of people thought and would like to say, but were afraid to say it. And that was when I stopped being a Republican, because the Republican Party in this county threw me under the bus along with the Democrats, because, that was during the whole social justice thing. And everybody was supposed to take a knee, and nobody wanted to go through what I went through. Let's put it that way. My daughter Chelsea was in high school at the time. She had to deal with the bullshit. And one of the main reasons I didn't run for a third term too was because of me being a county legislator did to my family, did to my wife and daughter. But they tried to get rid of me, which they couldn't because I was elected by the people. But they tried to, and I don't know if the governor just didn't want to do it, but they were going to have the governor remove me because that was the only way they could get rid of me. But I read those letters in that video. I'm not going to go through it all again. So go read it, form your own opinion. But what cracked me up was, like I said, this was in, June of 2020, the height of the old vid. Everybody had to have the face diapers, and, you could only go certain places and all. Basically what it amounted to is we weren't even supposed to have public meetings. But the Democrats went out and got 13 people to come in and speak against me. We were supposed to do all of our meetings remotely through, Zoom on our county-issued laptops that we had. I stayed home and watched the whole thing, and I was dumbfounded at all the people that showed up for that, the people that were standing up there at the podium, tearing me apart for being the racist that I was, not wearing their face diapers and all that. Oh, and the chairwoman at the time, after the fact, had to come out and say, well, we were probably wrong to hold that public meeting because, by law at that time from the governor, we weren't supposed to be able to hold those type of public meetings. But the character assassination that they did was just, it was unbelievable because if you say something they don't agree with, that's what they do. If they say something I don't agree with, I just tell them they're a piece of shit for their beliefs, and we move on, or put up a flag and move on. But no, they want to destroy, and that's what they want to try and pump into the heads of these young people too. is, you know, you destroy, like Maxine Waters said, you know, you get out there and get in their face. They're in a restaurant, you get in their face. We need to punch them in the face. You know, Chuck Schumer, you will feel the wrath. Judge Kavanaugh, yeah. And then somebody gets arrested for being outside the man's home with a gun. I mean, it's scary. It's literally scary the way they push the rhetoric. It's, I don't know. And then you get idiots, you know, like, and Mark, you're probably not going to see this because you're the ultimate forever dipshit. There goes James and the wife on their bike. You're the forever dipshit that's being banned because of what you said in the last video that I put out when you and everybody can go see his, I pinned his comment and a bunch of you jumped on it too, but he put in there that he was celebrating basically that he could watch the Charlie Kirk assassination video every day. It was just such a great thing for him. You people are sick, you know? And then he claimed that, you know, the Minnesota lawmaker, her and her husband that were murdered by a whack job, who of course everybody said was a right-wing whack job, even though the guy did an interview, I think it was with ABC, from his jail cell saying it had nothing to do with Trump, had nothing to do with the fact that this guy was a pro-life person, because this was right after the Minnesota legislature did some vote on abortion or something, and you know, they skipped that part, that it was some 2-year investigation that this guy he was a whack job. They all are, no matter who is pulling the trigger. They're a freaking whack job. But good old Mark, he made the claim that I celebrated that, and I told him, you find the exact video and the exact time in the video, because this just happened this summer, where I celebrated that. And of course he couldn't. He deflected and went on to more TDS bullshit in plain English. But the fact that he was celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination is why Mark is going to be blocked from this channel. Because I'm not dealing with that bullshit from people. But it's just, like I said, I went through the personal experience of being torn down, having my character torn down, having my daughter having to deal with it while she's in school, people talking about it, you know, because I said something that many people wanted to say. And like I said, you're going to read those letters if you take the time to go back to that video, because I'm just not going to rehash it right here now. And tell me I was wrong for saying what I said, and that many other people didn't believe the same thing that I was saying. And if social justice and all that horseshit, where's BLM now? You know, have things changed? We still hear the Democratic Party telling black people all the time how bad their lives are, and you need to vote for us Democrats because we'll make it better. How many decades do they need to keep telling you that before, well, a lot of you are waking up, but before more of you wake up and realize, why do they keep telling us how bad we have it? And it'll only get better if we vote for them every year. So apparently it's either bullshit or they're just pandering to you, because when are they going to make it better for you? They've been telling you this for decades. But I don't know, folks. I'm done with this video because I'm done with all of this. It's so sickening to watch the ones that are celebrating this, the ones that are just sick human beings in plain English. So here's your one more thing. Don't be a sick human being. So check out the Grumpy Farmer apparel link, and also don't forget the GI gear one from the last video, because that would be helping out a veteran. And how about we stop with the bullshit rhetoric? I mean, it's just, you want to hate somebody, you want to have your TDS, that's fine. I don't say I hate Obama and Biden, but I sure can't really stand them. But I've never wished physical ill on those people. I never wish them to be unalived. That is just, what in the hell is wrong with you? Oh, and a quick second more thing, just a little update on the whole ice raid thing. 3 miles from me, that nutrition bar place there. The actual numbers turned out to be 57 of them taken away. 52 of them, I guess, didn't want their day in court and accepted deportation. And 5 of them were held for criminal felony charges because they were multiple repeaters, as far as, in other words, they were deported and kept coming back to this country, which is a felony. For all of you who made comments about the owners of the place, they're still under investigation. How they didn't know those things, especially those 5, I don't know. That's beyond me. I have my opinions, and they're similar to some of yours that were in the comments.